Today we are making strawberry pizza. Now it has a tender sugar cookie crust spread with a sweet cream cheese layer and topped with a strawberry glaze and fresh strawberries. It is the first thing we make at our house whenever it's strawberry season. It's easy, delicious, picky eater proof, and the entire family is gonna love it. Now, I have taken this dessert to many parties, and let me tell you, it literally disappears as soon as I put it down on the table. Now, that combination of a tender sugar cookie crust, the sweet cream cheese, and the strawberries on top is perfection. Now, if you like those ingredients, but you're looking for something in more of a small batch form, make sure you check out my mini strawberry pie recipe up here. It's basically almost the same ingredients, but in a pie form, and it's amazing. Now, you can find the recipe for today's strawberry pie in the description down below. One of the things I love about this recipe is you can make it ahead in stages. You can go ahead and bake your sugar cookie crust, mix up your cream cheese filling, prepare your strawberry glaze, and then when you're ready to serve it, go ahead and assemble it. It will keep in the refrigerator, but only for a day or two. And because of the cream cheese filling, if you do happen to have any leftovers or you make it ahead, make sure you keep it in the fridge. We're going to start with the sugar cookie crust. And we only need 3 ingredients. We're going to combine a half of a cup of butter with a cup of all-purpose flour and a quarter of a cup of powdered sugar. And this is going to make that crust nice and tender. We're going to mix it up in our stand mixer. You could always do it by hand or with a hand mixer too. As you're mixing your dough together, it's going to look a little crumbly, but just be patient, keep mixing it. It's all going to come together and it'll form a nice soft dough. You can use your hands to pull it together if you're mixing this by hand, but you want it to all come together and be nice and soft. So now we're going to roll it out. Now, the hardest decision you're going to have to make with a strawberry pizza is what shape do you make your strawberry pizza? You can make it round. I often will make it round and will just use, I have a pizza stone I'll put it on if you have a round pizza pan. Today, we're going to make it rectangular though, and I'm just going to use my regular baking sheet. I like to roll it out on a piece of parchment paper. You're going to want to either grease or line your cookie sheet with parchment paper. Now, this crust, like I said, is tender. So if you want to remove it from your cookie sheet, you're going to want to line it with the parchment paper so you can lift that up. Otherwise, you're probably just going to serve it right off of your baking sheet. So if that's fine with you, you can put it right on there. I like to be able to pull it off onto my parchment paper and put it on to something else to serve it. So I'm going to roll it right out onto my parchment paper. Just kind of flatten it with my hand and then roll it out to the shape that I want. And again, I kind of like just to rotate it as I roll. If it sticks to your rolling pin, just add a little bit of flour. All right, so we've got our crust rolled out. Today we are going for an oval shape. I do roll it out fairly thin, and then we're going to take our baking sheet, just lift it up, put it on our baking sheet, and it is ready to go into our oven. We are going to bake it in a 325-degree oven for 15 minutes until it turns a light golden brown. All right, our next step is to mix together the cream cheese filling for the strawberry pizza. We're going to use 8 ounces of cream cheese, and you want it to be softened at room temperature, so let it sit out for an hour or two before you're ready to mix it up. We're going to use our stand mixer with our paddle attachment. Add that in. We're going to add in a half of a cup of sugar, a half of a teaspoon or teaspoon, however much you feel like putting in, of vanilla. And then we need about a quarter teaspoon or just a squeeze of lemon juice. It just gives it a little fresh taste to our cream cheese. And then we're going to just mix that up together until it's nice and creamy. Right, so it's nice and creamy, and we're going to make our strawberry glaze next. Now, the third step is we're going to make our strawberry glaze. And again, this could be made ahead of time if you needed to. And I've taken 1 cup of just chopped up strawberries and blended them up in my food processor. You could use a blender, but you want to make a strawberry puree. And we're going to put that into a small saucepan. And into that, we are going to add a tablespoon of cornstarch. And I like to just take it and sprinkle it on a little at a time. We kind of stir as I'm doing so I don't end up with any big lumps of cornstarch. Now our cornstarch is going to be the thickener for our glaze. And then we have 4 tablespoons of granulated sugar that we're going to pour in. Woo! Whoops. Real life, folks, real life. Okay, now it's gonna see, as you can see, it's gonna look nice and cloudy. And we are going to heat it over a medium heat until it starts to come to a boil and it turns thick and glossy. All right, it's going to take about 5 minutes, but it's going to change from that cloudy white mixture to a thick, glossy, deeper red. And that's when you know it's ready. We're going to take it off. We're going to let it cool. And then we will be ready to assemble our strawberry pizza. We are ready to assemble our strawberry pizza. We have the cookie crust that has cooled. We've got our cream cheese mixture, and our strawberry glaze has also cooled. Now, if you find with your strawberry glaze that it kind of cools a little too much and kind of gels up so that it's hard to spread, I just add a little bit of water in it and just warm it ever so slightly over on the stove again, and it will become spreadable again. So then the only other thing you're going to need is your sliced strawberries. I've got about 2 cups here. A lot of it's just going to depend on how big your strawberries are, and so I have sliced those up. So the first step is we're going to take this filling. Now remember that this crust is tender, so you know, don't use all your muscle while you are spreading this cream cheese filling on it. Kind of be nice and gentle with it. I like to use my little offset spatula to spread frostings and things on cakes and on this. So if you don't have one of these little kitchen tools, I highly recommend it. I'll link to one in the description down below. So I've got that cream cheese layer on here, nice even layer, and I take it almost up to the edge, not quite all the way to the edge. It gives you a little something to hold on to there. And then I'm going to take our strawberry glaze, and we are going to spread that over the top of our pizza. And I'm going to use my little offset spatula again. This is a pretty thin layer, and I'd like to usually leave a little bit of the cream cheese layer showing on the edges. I just think it looks prettier that way. All right, we've got the strawberry glaze on there, and then the final touch is we are going to add our sliced strawberries. Now, you can get as creative as you want with how you want to add these strawberries. I just usually do rows of them. Sometimes I use, when I want to make this a little bit more patriotic maybe, I will use blueberries and strawberries, and I have a fun patriotic version of it I will link to down below that you can check out. Of course, you could use any kind of fruit you want on this. If you have some kiwi, other berries, you can get as creative as you like. We just love using strawberries on it. And like I said, it's our favorite way to use fresh strawberries right out of the garden. All right, we've got our strawberries on here and it is ready to serve. Now, if you've made it ahead at this point, you could put it in the refrigerator. The crust will soften up a little bit if you do that, but it is still delicious. I like to cut it with a pizza cutter, and I generally cut it into squares. I find it's easier if when you're cutting it, you kind of cut in between the strawberries. It makes it a little bit easier. So this dessert is best eaten with your hands. Look at that. Tender sugar cookie, creamy cream cheese, and the strawberries on top. And be sure and check out my other dessert recipes here on YouTube by clicking over here. And I've got some great dinner time ideas too, especially in the Instapot. You'll find those over there too. And be sure to subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, and we'll see you next week in the kitchen.